The Canon R5 C is an awesome camera. I've owned one since it came out, and I recently picked up a second one, even after all the new Canon lineup came out, the C80, the R5 II, the C400, went out of order there, but nonetheless, the question is it worth waiting for a Canon R5 C Mark II before you'd potentially buy a Canon R5 C or any of the other cameras that I just mentioned? I kinda am starting to question, will they even make a Canon R5 C Mark II?
In a world where nuclear war has begun, vampires fought back in super real 3D.
Imagine that you're a Canon and you've got your lineup of cameras and you have the R5 C and you've got the R5 Mark II, and you want to make an R5 C Mark II. You know, you're probably going to do what they did originally, which is it's going to be the same sensor from the R5 went into the R5 C, except then they improved it more. I mean, you can see visible, noticeable differences in the quality of what they unlocked that sensor to do with the shadows and stuff like that. But I don't think they're holding the horsepower back on the R5 Mark II. I think you're gonna have the same dynamic range, you're gonna have the same pattern in your shadows. I think it's gonna be like probably identical. All right, so you got the R5 Mark II sensor in there of 8K. Okay, great. Well, what makes it more of a cinema camera? Well, you'd go to, well, it has a cinema menu. All right, great. We got the cinema menu and we've got the R5 Mark II sensor. All right, this doesn't have me sold yet on why I'd wait to get an R5 C Mark II rather than just getting an R5 Mark II. Now granted, if they just accomplish that single feat, and at that time when it comes out, you're choosing between the two, and they're both at the same price point, I guess, and you got the one that has the cinema menu in it, I get it. But that's a lot of effort for them to make a whole other camera line to do just that. So what else would they add to it? ND filters. I mean, built-in ND filters would absolutely be a cinema option that is really in all of their other cinema cameras as far as I know, and it's not in the R5 C because it's the only mirrorless cinema camera that they have. The thing is, if they put built-in ND filters into an 8K camera that also can take amazing stills, why would you get the C80, right? Like for an XLR port, which would be another feature that I would hope would be in an R5 C Mark II. Like an XLR port, built-in ND filters, and more dynamic range. These are all the things that we could request because we don't need more resolution than 8K. A lot of people don't even want 8K, but in my opinion is that once you really start working with it and you realize that you can charge more for it and potentially get bigger projects with it with higher paying clients, and then you just have them buy the hard drive space for it and you go to town on working on the best looking footage that the camera can produce, I think you'll end up finding that you'll be very happy using 8K, and it unlocks some doors for you financially on what you can work with for your productions and your clients. Anyway, that's my opinion. I go into that in more detail in the other video that talks about the R5 C and why I bought it over the other cameras. Okay, so what can it have? We're not looking for more resolution. We've got the same, at best, we've probably got the same dynamic range. If it got more dynamic range than the R5 Mark II, if they did a different sensor that was also 8K that had more dynamic range, I mean, again, once you cross that threshold, why are you going to consider getting a C80? So it's like, I feel at best you're gonna get the dynamic range from the R5 too. So I don't know, it's like, what would you be waiting on? Maybe it would have more ports. So yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, you could have like either full-size HDMI or an SDI port. But again, I just don't feel like that's like compelling enough that they would manufacture this whole other line of camera for it. Now, maybe I'm wrong, and if it came in at the same exact price point as the R5 II, then yeah, I guess I get it. You know, I would buy, and it came out and I was looking for a camera right then that would probably work. I would go ahead and get the cinema camera, but that's most certainly not something to hold my breath for and wait on coming out if I was thinking about buying a new camera. But I want to know your guys' opinion on it. So if you guys, this would be a fun area to have a conversation about it. What am I not thinking about? Is there a rumor that I don't know about that would be like, oh wow, well that really would be good? I really, the only thing I can think of at best is that they'd put a new sensor in that had more dynamic range. That would be compelling. But I don't know how that's not gonna cannibalize the other product line. That's just where the conclusion I keep coming to. And I did have it in the back of my mind wasn't as confident about arriving at this decision at the time that I made that first video talking about why I still got the R5C, but it was in the back of my mind as part of the reason that I still just moved forward with getting an R5C and instead of the other stuff, and definitely not waiting any longer on it. But we'll see. I would love, I mean, look, if they did make a Canon R5C Mark II that had built-in ND filters, and it had an XLR port on it, and it had more dynamic range with the cinema menu, and the built-in fan stays, and I mean, I guess it could improve battery life, but that's recently been resolved in a lot of ways with the new batteries that are available for the R5 II. You can put those into this camera, which I haven't bought any because I have all these external battery options that I've gone with, and I'm fine with that. But you can use those, and I think they get like an hour and a half of time. That's pretty good, man. I mean, like, that's completely reasonable to work with in your camera while you're filming RAW. And so anyway, I don't know. All right, guys, let me know. Talk amongst yourselves. Let's have a conversation about it. I think it's a fun topic, but I don't know. I'm a little like sad because I just don't know if there's going to be an R5C Mark II. This might be a little relic in time. We'll see. All right, take care, guys. Catch you on the next one. Bye.